You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Vegas After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Vegas After Show.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, AFTERBUZZers. Bing is for doing, and today, Nick Perdue and myself, Thaddeus Massey, are doing the 17th episode of the first season of CBS's Vegas, starring Dennis Quaid.
Yeah,
and Michael
buddy.
Chiklis, Sarah Jones. Who else is on this show?
Some more people.
Carrie-Anne Moss.
Carrie-Anne Moss.
Trinity. You guys might know her as Trinity from the Matrix series. This episode is called Hollywood Ending.
Yes, it is.
And I think it's properly named. You guys watched this episode this week. The season has only gotten better. I'm still disappointed about the time change. We'll talk about that later. But the episodes have only improved as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And the story is just getting hotter and is heating up.
Even the intro has improved.
They even changed the intro.
Yeah,
and the
man.
intro is hot.
They're doing everything now. They're
Dude.
pulling all the stops.
Dude. Time slot change. Change it back. It was at 8 o'clock.
Put it
8 o'clock on Tuesday.
Put it back to Tuesday. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so this Hollywood skim.
Hollywood
This it is called Hollywood Ending, but this skim investigation with
It's gone federal.
it's gone federal, and they got Byrne back.
Yeah.
Byrne is back.
This hard-nosed agents.
Just when you
know,
thought you got rid of him, they brought him right back in.
him and the comb-over.
It was really for him and the comb over. He's actually not a bad looking dude.
I didn't say anything about how he
Right.
looked. I just said he has a comb-over.
He does have a comb over. But the guy is back in town,
Yeah.
and he's here to wreck shop.
I don't think he
And-
even left, though, to be honest with you. I think he just stayed in town.
Do you think he gambled, went to some strip clubs, and did his thing?
It's Vegas.
Okay, well, here's the thing about Byrne. Byrne is always looking to catch the bigger fish on a federal level, and then you know the reason there is an FBI, you have because you have to look out for the betterment of the country. I mean, you think about it on that scale, like the Federal Bureau of Investigation is not the local sheriff's department for a reason.
Yeah.
It's like so Jack shouldn't. As far as I'm concerned, I don't believe he should be so butthurt about the feds coming in, and he should aid them more, be more apt, and take the lead, and actually be the guy who solves and busts. Bust the mob on a federal level instead of wanting to bring everything down to like a small time. That's what it seems like it is like.
But you know, Jack has a conflict of interest though with Mia.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with Ralph helping Byrne and getting credit for making a federal bust or having a federal case actually.
I think Ralph likes to, you know, have a handle on everything. So, you know, when it goes to that federal level, it gets out of his hands, and it's like he can only assist, and he's not the one calling the shots and leading the charge, you know. So that's what I think his bait, you know, his big thing is. But when it is for the betterment of the town, and you know, because they're essentially going after the same guy, you know, they're going after the same thing, and you know, the feds have a bigger, wider net that they can toss, and they can really, you know, they have more jurisdiction in what they can really do, you know what I mean? So, but Ralph, of course, feels like, because I think he has a little personal vendetta against
Agent Byrne.
No, against Vincent. So,
I think. Well, here's the thing. It seems as if he's more concerned about bringing Vincent down than
the whole mob.
Which the feds are interested in pulling down the whole Chicago crime syndicate, not just Vincent Savino, because Vincent he doesn't run everything. If he ran everything, they'll be bringing the skim to himself.
Yeah,
he'd be keeping it. He has to send the skim back home. Yeah, just because he's working for other people. Only thing he runs is the Savoy crime family. Yeah. That's the only thing he runs. So he has to finagle. Vincent has to dip and dive, and as we know from the whole Johnny Rizzo situation. And speaking about Johnny Rizzo,
his wife is in town.
Oh, his baby mama, his baby mama, Johnny's baby mama. But what's funny is you see this hot young, or I wouldn't say hot young. She's like a MILF, like a cougar.
She's a very sexy, seductive older woman who
plays that role. I've seen her in so many projects.
She was on Entourage because she played the man who plays Barry Silver's like on Entourage. She played his wife.
Barry Silver?
Yeah, the guy who plays Barry Silver. They were on Entourage together. Remember, because he was the head of a movie studio there too.
Yes,
so she played his wife. I'll get names and everything, but that's what
Okay, well she'll get it. you, whatever your name is, we'll find out. Yeah, sexy older cougar. You, she's gorgeous, and she was perfectly cast for this role.
Definitely was.
You know what's funny? As soon as she got out of the car, walked in to the casino, I said, "That's Mia's mama." I knew that was Mia's mother.
It was good casting.
I knew it was her. Yeah, I was like, "That's Mia's mother." Casting. She just had too much swag. Yeah. She was like Mia 20 years from now. Yeah. Like her whole swag, how she walked in, like she ran the place. I was like, "Who?" I was like, "That's Mia's mom." That's the only. I was like, that's Mia's mother. I just knew it. Sorry, I went off on a tangent about how I knew that was Mia's mom. But anyway, we find out that it's Mia's mom, and she has this Sharon Stone casino-esque thing going on in the Savoy with all these high rollers, these ballers that are in there, and they're tipping. She even teaches a couple of them how to tip because a couple of them are cheap. Yeah, it's always the cowboys that are cheap. It's like the oil guys.
Well, because they're new money.
Hey, let me tell you guys something. You oil guys that are getting a bad rap on this show, that are big spenders and big ballers down in Texas, call 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729. You guys, hit me up. We'll go out, and I'll be happy to spend all your money and show everybody how cheap you guys are not, because you don't roll like that. But maybe it was like that in 1960. I don't know.
Melinda Clark is her name.
Melinda Clark.
Yes.
She's gorgeous, and she's a very talented actress, or actor, I should say. She's very talented, and her performance was flawless. It was really funny as far as the character is concerned, how nobody knew who she was. And then next thing you know, she's hooking up with Vincent in his room, I guess. And she didn't know who. I thought that she knew who he was.
I did too.
And when he's getting dressed after they do their thing, she's like, "You gotta go so soon?" And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to run this place." And she's like, "Wait a minute, you run this?" Like, you run. So she's just hooking up with a random guy. She thought
because he didn't know that she was Mia's mother either.
He didn't.
Yeah,
he didn't know who she was. I think they just sparks just flew. And then sparks flew.
What happens in Vegas?
What happens in Vegas?
Then he shot up the club.
But you know what's funny? That happens in Vegas, stays in Vegas thing. It's not a good thing if you live in Vegas.
Yeah.
Because everything just
everything
happens, just stays there.
All your dirt sticks to your city.
It sticks to you. Yeah. Yeah, so it's only good if you get to go back home somewhere. So remember that for you. Vegas natives that have to stay in Vegas, because everything stays in Vegas. So let's talk about Dixon and Yvonne, who go to Hollywood to pursue this Hollywood dream.
At Silver Studios.
Silver Studios.
Now, what? Because I was like, they looked like Paramount a little bit. Or like they modeled that off after
the Paramount lot,
gate, right?
I believe they did. I believe it was the Paramount lot. It looked like the Paramount lot.
Yeah, that's I was just what it looked like to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like one of the smaller side gates or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So blah, blah, blah. Dixon's on his way to go see Violet.
To go surprise her.
To go surprise the love of his life, sweep her off of her feet while taking Yvonne to her audition
at Capitol Records.
That Tommy Stone, or did Tommy Stone hook that up, or did she hook it up based on just the connections that she made from Tommy Stone?
No, I think Tommy Stone hooked it up, and so like she like followed up with it, and then
Okay, and that's how
they're
Okay, so she has a meeting at Capitol Records, and they are not able to get on the lot. It was so funny, him being a sheriff's deputy, he rolls up and just thinks he's going to get on the lot. It's like, but he didn't actually drop the fact that he was a sheriff or anything. He was like, I'm coming to see Violet, blah, blah, blah. Does she know you're coming? He's like, no, I'm here to surprise her. And he's like, okay, I want you to go on up, make a U-turn, and then go out the exit sign. It's like, wow, like that, huh? So he sees the bright idea of they have to find a way to get on,
sneak on the lot.
Man. So I don't know what costume he put on, or
it was an astronaut costume.
He put on the astronaut costume.
Yeah.
And then I guess he was gonna go hook up with Violet. Violet sees him. They go in the room. Yvonne wasn't gonna go until they saw the security guy coming. Yeah. And she goes in the room with him or whatever. And Violet was less than thrilled to see Dixon.
I think she was more like startled that he was there. She's like, "Oh my God! Like, what are you doing here?"
It was kind of weird. She went all Hollywood on him already. See,
basically,
even in 1960, someone get all Hollywood.
Yeah, because it was one, she wasn't expecting him, so it was totally unexpected. And then because she already had things set up, and so like she's only probably been back in Hollywood for like 3 or 4 days.
Right.
Everything was very quick. Right.
Right.
So now all of a sudden you get Dixon coming in with some woman who she has no idea who this woman is. Right. Right. And, he's like, hey, I'm here to see you, and we're here to spend some quality time. And she's like, okay, but, what's his name's office is like, this is his studio. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So it's kind of like it wasn't the best circumstances for him to just pop up and say, hey, let's hang out for the day.
Well, they eventually ended up posing as boyfriend, girlfriend. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah, they had to because Barry Silver, as they were leaving, Barry Silver was like, hey, why don't you come to the little shindig that we're having at my house tonight? Right. Right. And then this is your girlfriend, right? As he was, referring to Yvonne. Right. And she was like, yeah, I'm his girlfriend.
Which was really, really funny.
Yeah.
By the way.
And so, they went to the little shindig and things got a little extramarital.
Got a little extra. I mean, they dip away to the cabana.
Yeah.
And Yvonne goes and starts performing with the guy who's supposed to be the next Desi Arnaz.
I forget what his name was, but she was saying that like this is like her grandma's favorite singer, and she was like, oh my God, she was a little starstruck.
Yeah, she was. I don't think she groupied out, but she was she appreciated it, and she got up there and she sang and
she did her thing.
And then Barry recognized her talent.
He did,
and he recognized the fact that she can sing.
Yeah.
So he gives her an audition for 3 o'clock the next day.
Says, come by the office.
Come by the office.
Yep. And I mean, is it more of an audition or more of a casting couch session? Like that's.
I mean, we saw what it was. It was a casting desk.
Yeah.
Or casting chair. I didn't see any couches in there, but I mean, that was no bueno. That situation.
But I'm glad that they kind of showed that side because like that's really what happens in Hollywood.
I mean,
probably not to that effect.
Not everybody goes through that.
Not everybody,
but
it happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens on a lot of jobs actually. That's not even
in Hollywood.
Not even a Hollywood or a performer position. A lot of people go through stuff away from the profession or away from the office to garner
that
titles
position and that
position. Exactly. It happens a lot.
You want a raise, right?
So do I.
So
you want a raise, right? So do I.
It is like it's terrible, but some people have to.
It's bad.
Have to go through, but
it can be bad. So let's jump over back to Vincent introducing and finding out that Lena is Mia's mother. Well, he actually. When they introduce each other or whatever, blah, 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 he goes, Lena Rizzo is dead. And he's like, oh, I'm not dead.
Yeah.
And I guess she convinces him, and then, you know, of course Vincent does his due diligence, finds out that she just would come around every so often, but she was alive, that is her, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It seems as if, you know, when he introduces her to Mia is a cold B.I.T. I mean, she's dealing with a lot of pain and hurt right now.
She has thick skin now.
Yeah, her dad is killed by the man that she loves, and she feels deceived and betrayed. On top of that, a lot of mixed feelings. Doesn't know what to think. Don't know. You know, her perception of the world is probably like really screwed up. Besides the fact that she really had a really rotten dad and a really square boyfriend, and all that's intermingled now. Yeah, it's like, well, now because of how my dad went out, it's not like he got shot up in the line of business like by another crew, another mob family. You know, you expect that. It's like now her dad doesn't look as bad as he did, even though he's dead and he was a douchebag. And her boyfriend, who did the killing and deceived her and lied to her about it, is not looking like such a square guy. So now it's like she doesn't really know what to think or how to think. And I can feel Mia on this. And I understand like why she's being cold. I think she's gonna loosen up in a little bit, and I think potentially, and this is obviously a little prediction, I think she's gonna loosen up towards Jack and soften up because of her mother. I think she's gonna get close to her mother because, as you saw, their relationship starts to. I mean, but you know, upon that first meeting, let's get back to that first meeting. Yeah, you know, she was like, "You're not my mother." You know, right. she brought pictures and birth certificates and stuff like that, you know, to prove, you know, that she is who she says she is. Right. You know, and then, you know, they had a nice little exchange, and, you know, she said that my mother left me when I was 2, and, you know, we thought, and then died shortly after. Right. But, you know, if you are who you say you are, you didn't call, you didn't write any letters, you didn't do anything, and you're what kind of mother does that? Yeah. But at the same time, it's like she appeals to her senses, like, you know who your dad was, right? You know how your dad pretty much was the tone of the conversation that she had to use in order for her to appeal to Mia. And Mia knew her dad better than anybody. Yeah. So it was kind of like, oh, dang, I mean, yeah. And then, you know, Vincent does his due diligence, finds out that, yeah, your mom came around every couple of years to see you, but Johnny wasn't having it. Yeah. So what can she say now? Surely can't. Mia can't say anything. It's like, I know my dad was a D-bag. I know he was like one of the roughest, toughest gangsters, and I know he was very, very extremely intimidating. And when Lena said that your dad said he would kill me, that's believable. Yeah, because he probably would. Just like he took out the actress, he got her high on heroin or whatever. What was her name? Debbie Diamond or something like that? Desmond. Diane Desmond. So he killed her. Yeah. So, I mean, that's very believable that he would have her killed or kill her himself, whatever. Yeah. So she only came around like every couple of years to try to see her daughter. And I like how she even approached Mia like, look, she said, I'm no mother. Yeah, she's not even trying to fake the funk. Like, I haven't lived the life. I haven't bonded with you like a mother should. You know, but basically Johnny's gone now, and I want to know you, and I want you to know me. Like, I think it was between a rock and a hard place. It's a hard situation to be in. And also too, because, you know, like, she essentially is probably like the only family that she has left. Right. You know, right. And so, you know, she really came to say, you know, let you know that you're not alone. Right. You know, that I'm still here. Right. You know, and we can probably form some type of bond, some type of relationship, right? You know, after I know I've been gone for the past 20 some odd years or whatever, right? But, you know, we can, you know, start now and, you know, build up for the future and see how we can actually come together as mother and daughter, or as friends, as family, as relatives, as family, and have each other's back and support one another. I like the situation that happened where the person that they had one of their customers, and I guess he was a gambler, the high roller from Texas. Yeah, and he was like missing what was it, $15,000 or whatever, and then she went ahead and $5,000 chips missing. $5,000 chips. I'll be upset too. I can start up a whole new oil rig in 1960. Yeah, for $15,000. Yeah, man, maybe 5 of them, maybe half a dozen. Especially if you're paying a dime for a cup of coffee. Anyway, so Mia gives the guy $15,000, $5,000 chips. You know, put a marker under my name, whatever, blah blah blah. Yeah. So she rummages through her mother's things in her room, finds the money in the drawer. The mother finds her going through the stuff, and she says, look,
I'm a thief.
I'm not. Well, she basically says, look, I work for myself.
Yeah.
The difference between me and what you do and what I do is I work for me, and you got to answer for the guys back in Chicago.
Yeah. Who will sell you out?
Who will sell you out and don't have your back.
Yeah.
And Mia knows this.
Yeah.
So the things that her mother is saying to her are not preachy, or she's not trying to come at her like, I'm your mother, you have to respect me, but you got to respect her.
Yeah.
She's still alive.
And making money.
And she's brought all the high rollers to the Savoy.
Yeah.
So she says that guy was gypping me out of what he naturally should have gotten paid for helping him win or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Her percentage.
Her percentage. So she was taking what's hers.
What I think is interesting, because this is just a thought that just crossed my head as I was watching this, when Lena and Vincent were in the casino walking, and was telling them about the high rolls and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, she could become one of those VIP hosts,
right?
Who brings in the high rollers to the Savoy.
Well, that's an interesting thought. I didn't think about that. And one of the things that I think why that may not happen is because she's independent.
But they have independent. Well, like now I know, like now in Vegas, there's independent VIP hosts that work at different.
No, there are. They might have got that idea from someone like her.
Yeah.
But as far as Lena is concerned, she doesn't need the Savoy.
She doesn't,
because the guys that she brings in, she brought them in on her own.
Yeah.
And then she takes her cut and pockets it herself. If she was to put herself in a position where she would have to depend or wait on getting paid,
like paychecks
by the Savoy, that would put her in a less powerful position, and she doesn't need them to do that. They actually needed her to bring those people. I mean, I'm sure they have business already, but she's bringing in high rollers.
She is.
So that's making them more money. So it's better for them to cater to her, like serve her, give her a free room if she wants to stay there, give her whatever accommodation she needs, because she's bringing money in, which those accommodations equal money. So it doesn't really suit her. It suits them to keep her happy.
That's true.
But I think she's gonna stay there because she wants to keep Vincent happy, because Vincent's making her happy right now, aren't you, Vinny?
And then I mean, also because it is like a weird kind of relationship, because I think that Mia doesn't necessarily want her to leave yet either.
No, she doesn't.
You know what I mean? So
she wants to get to know her.
Yeah, so there's another reason for her to stick around besides just Vincent.
Well, it was really funny when Vincent shows up and Mia's leaving after she confronts her about the $15,000.
Yeah.
And she says, "Oh, I have to tell Vincent about that." And then there's a knock on the door, and she's like, "Oh, that's Vince. That's him right. That should be him right there." And she's like, "What?" And then she opens the door, and then Vince's like, "Oh, hi.
Are you joining us?
Are you joining us for dinner, or what's going on?" Right? So Mia figures it out quick, like, "Oh, she's already giving this dude the tail, the tail feather already." Like, what? Oh, I tell Vincent, what's Vincent gonna do? Vincent's gonna say, "Oh yeah, give her another $15,000." That's what Vincent's gonna do. So I mean, what am I gonna say? Okay, so that's the situation. That's the stakes I'm dealing with right now. That's what's really going on. Okay, so I don't know if it's just me, but did anybody else think about the fact that Vincent's married, got kids back somewhere? I thought about it. I thought about the fact that Vincent's got a family.
I know. I thought about it too, but I'm thinking, okay, because that's the first thing I thought about, to be honest with you.
And as hot as Lena is, he's got a hot wife.
But here's the thing. Like when we first were introduced to Lena, and then like how Vincent and her had the little back and forth, and then they snap and they're in his room and they're doing what they're doing. I'm thinking, okay, like she's a mistress of his that he's had. You know what I mean?
Right. That's what I thought initially.
And then so we come to find out that they had no idea who each other's are. So she just may become a new mistress.
Right.
So
maybe she will. Maybe she'll become his girlfriend.
Or his girlfriend.
I mean, he doesn't have to worry about Johnny. Mia will be like a stepdaughter, so to speak. That's gonna get real convoluted though, especially when they find out when the whole conspiracy of how he set Jack up to kill.
Yeah.
To kill Johnny. How that came all from.
It's gonna get exciting.
From Vincent. What's also messed up? I don't like the fact that his wife isn't there when she was the one trying to set the whole situation up to begin with to get Johnny out of his hair.
Yeah.
No pun intended, since he doesn't have any hair. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now he ended up doing it himself, and it's like, well, why did you get rid of your wife? Like, your wife was having your back.
Yeah, and she was good for the team.
Right. She was great for the team. She came up with all kind of things. I just think that was a major mistake. I'm going to go back to it. I've been saying it all season long. Vincent, you made a mistake sending your wife home. Your wife was the best weapon that you had, bro. And now you're out here butt naked, all alone in the desert, trying to be a boss. I mean, you are a boss, but you're still trying to be a boss at the same time, because you still have to answer to people back home in Chicago. Yeah. So now Mia is his second in command. Vincent's a smart guy, but he's making some really stupid mistakes, I feel, and it starts off with that. But let's get back to Dixon and Yvonne at this party, and I guess they gave a shout out to all the paparazzi, because one of the paparazzi got beat up at the party for taking pictures at a Hollywood party. See, this has been going on for generations. And I guess they don't look at, well, I'll take a couple bruises. The bruises are healed, but I'll still have the money from the magazine who pays me for the picture.
But I think, didn't they break his camera though too?
I think so.
So, see?
They beat him up pretty bad.
He got beat up and no money now.
Now, you know what's really funny is they were beating him up, and Yvonne was like, oh my gosh, he's getting beat up. And to me, I would have been like, oh, he's a paparazzi. Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, but
I would have been like, oh, he's on private party.
Doesn't know his,
He's on private property. I mean, she could hear him say, you guys taking pictures of the party.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, wow. So it's obvious, but she's not used to the culture.
She's from she's from a totally different town, totally different city, totally Nevada. Different. You know what I mean? Right. So like this is all brand new to her. That's why it was it was really a culture shock.
It was a culture shock. You're right.
And so like look on her face, she's like, oh my god, like this is what they do out here. Like this is no joke. Like Hollywood is a beast.
Right.
And
again. Once Amy Garcia comes in here, we're going to see if she can bust a couple notes for us, because she was really singing her butt off at that party. If that was really her, I was really, really impressed by that.
Yeah.
So she goes to the audition.
But before she goes to the audition, you see Dixon and Violet, sneak away
at the cabana.
And we
talked about that. They're making out or whatever while Violet is performing, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And then the paparazzi gets beat up. Okay. So let's jump to the audition. She goes to the audition. The audition.
And see, I had a feeling. He had it all figured out.
He was like, Barry knew what was going on. He was like, look, I know Dixon's not really your boyfriend, and blah, blah, blah. He said, I know that he wants to hook up with Violet. He knew the whole game.
Yeah.
But this guy gets married with his own family and everything anyway. So he looks at these actresses like they're toys.
Yeah.
He's just having fun. They're like all for recreation for him. And like, yeah, I'll make this one a star. I'll make this one a star. I throw this one in a movie, throw that one in a movie. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like whatever as far as he's concerned. If he was smart,
when you own a studio,
right. Now, if he was liking to have fun with these girls or whatever, his old stank hairy self or whatever, he should have befriended a young Dixon and had him, maybe hired him or something, took him under his wing, and they could have, he could have had some fun that way. Because the girls they don't like you, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. But he's
Barry.
He's in that position of power. And so that's what it was, so like he's selling the dream.
Let me tell you something.
If you really want to be an actress, this is all you got to do.
The one thing you can't pay for, you can't pay somebody to like you. You can pay somebody to say yes, but you can't pay somebody to like you.
You're absolutely right.
I don't care how much money you got. They'll take your money. They'll say yes all day. But the inside, you will never really know.
Yeah, I mean,
they like you or not.
But I don't even think he wanted them to like him. Like I don't
think he cares. He's a slime ball.
He's literally just there just to
just to exploit,
just to get some
and make more movies and blah 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 yada yada yada. Okay, so let's talk about the DA, who's a slime bucket and a half. Actually, I'm sorry. Actually, I don't want to leave you guys hanging on the whole audition process with Yvonne. So Yvonne goes to the audition.
And she's in awe. She sees the picture of Mussolini. She sees all the trophies and, the Emmys, the Academy Awards, and this and that.
She brings something to perform.
Yeah.
Like, she's like prepared to sing for him and
audition. But she's wondering like where everybody else is, like casting directors and producers, stuff like that. Yeah, she says, no, it's just
the only person you need to audition for or worry about is me.
Yeah.
And then he puts the moves on her.
Was it really moves or was it really like pressure?
Well, he put the moves on her kinda at first. They were kind of weak moves, but that was his version of moves. And she, of course, was like, I think I'm going to go. And he grabs like, oh, you like it rough, huh? And he starts smacking her around. Yeah. She has to hit him over the head with a crystal vase or something. And it's like, wow.
Yeah, and then he called her a Spanish B word.
What did he say? Lil puta or something?
Yeah.
Something crazy like that?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, oh, really?
Yeah. But see, because I think it was interesting on how, he asked her what her nationality was, and she said, oh, I'm Mexican.
Right.
And he says, I like Italians better, or something like that.
Right. He said, in this town, you'll be Italian.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, dang, like, really?
You work for me, because remember, Rita Hayworth, like he gave like some crazy Mexican name.
Right.
And he was like, that's the same person.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was basically saying you can't be who you are in this town, yada,
exactly.
yada, yada, which is really funny because I remember watching movies with my dad that were like really, really old movies, and like a lot of roles that were like Native American characters or African American characters were often portrayed by Caucasians, and they would just put on makeup.
Yeah.
They weren't played by someone
that is from that ethnicity.
From that ethnicity. So you're like, wow, is that person? I remember I used to sound like, why is that white person wearing makeup? Like, I used to think about that but they were actually supposed to be playing that character.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it was back then. It just goes to show you how far we've come. Thank you, God. But it's really interesting that he was opting for her to be an Italian as opposed to just being Mexican. It just shows you a sign of the times and what things were like or whatever. I think it's really sad that Yvonne is chasing this guy. She's not chasing him. She just has an affinity towards him, a strong affinity for Dixon. And Dixon's naturally a good guy, but he's a ladies man, and
he's a ladies killer.
Exactly. I think she's too good for Dixon. That's just personally. I think she's hotter than what he deserves, and she's
she's a little Nick Perdue. I don't know. I'm just
Wait a minute. Maybe. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, she goes to pack up her bags. Yeah. Dixon and Violet come in the room,
which was kind of weird because the room on the outside didn't have any doorknobs on the outside of the door, which I thought was kind of odd.
On the bedroom door?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
I noticed that. It was a little weird.
Maybe that's how it was back then. The decor. Maybe was it an open door or was it a sliding door?
No, it was a regular open swinging door.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was interesting that Violet just happened to be there as well.
It was a little weird, yeah.
But they see that she's been slapped around or whatever, and now it's like Dixon to the rescue. I loved how Dixon popped up at the house. And the way he was punching this guy, he was laying into this dude. I mean, he didn't box this guy. It wasn't a fight. He beat his behind. Yeah. Like, he
wiped the floor with him.
Dude, he beat him. The way he was laying into this dude. Yeah. And he deserved it.
He did.
I mean, but we see next week, coming up that something's going to happen with Violet accusing Dixon of beating her, which is probably what happened as a result of Dixon beating Barry. Yeah. So he probably slapped Violet around. Your boyfriend beat me up, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm beating you up. And then you're going to say that yada, yada, yada. Obviously, that's what the storyline is about next week. But it's still good enough to want to watch because it's going to be interesting to see how they handle the situation. And some L.A. Hollywood thugs are going to come out to Vegas and have a showdown with Ralph. And
it's crazy the amount of leverage that Barry Silver has. Like being in the position that he's in, and I think like this really is probably the biggest thing because you have these young women with these hopes and these dreams, and all their life all they wanted to do or be was be in show business. Mm-hmm. And Barry Silver says, "Listen, I can make you a star. All you gotta do is X, Y, and Z." And then so if anything,
it's more like XX and X.
Either way. if anything, was to conflict with them doing X, Y, and Z or X, X, and X, then, he can be like, I'll just make sure you never work in this town again.
Right.
That's true. and as literally, I can make one phone call and you're blacklisted. Go back to Kansas, go back to Iowa, go back to Kentucky, wherever you're from,
right?
And go be a waitress or whatever for the rest of your life. Like that's really where he's at. He has that much leverage, and we already know he's a dirty dude with the wife and kids, and you know what I mean?
God, it sucks.
Which is nuts.
Yes, it's horrible that Barry Silver exists at all.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. I was like, that's really like and what he's gonna do this next episode, like how we can construct this frame on Dixon. You know what I mean? And this girl's still like going through with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but we'll save that for next week.
Right. Yeah. Next week's episode is gonna be really good as well. So let's jump on over to the DA who
fakes his kidnapping.
Fakes his own kidnapping.
Yeah, with this guy. Now here's the thing, and this is what I enjoyed. Early on in the episode, where Katherine, the ADA, she was going through some files, and so the DA was in Reynolds. He walked in, he was like, oh, you're still here. I thought you were left. She's like, oh, I was going through a couple things. Right. She was looking at some stuff. We're gonna bring the feds in on this.
Right.
And he's like, wait a minute. The feds. She was like, I talked to Ralph and Jackie and we feel that's the best thing.
They might have information on what the avocado is, and we don't know what the avocado is, blah, blah, yada, yada, yada. Yeah.
And then he was like, what? The avocado. So like he knows he's about to get got.
Yeah. So he has to set some up and with a quickness.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And why not take the skim? He should take the skim and bounce. Get out of town. He has the money.
He should have.
That's enough money for him to like go to Mexico or somewhere, Iceland or something. I don't know, Switzerland, and invest in some business and learn the native language, native tongue there, and live there for happily ever after.
Yeah, but he's sloppy.
Well, I don't think it was just that he was sloppy. I don't think he did it soon enough. He should have did it like probably 2 skims ago.
Well, no, but he was rushed though too.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Because like if he had the proper amount of time, then to really construct and orchestrate a plan, then he could have got away with it.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
He probably would have been done, but then Ralph foiled his plans. Yeah. Showed up at the bank. At the bank. Why? Right after he's made his withdrawal, his escape money, so he can go live wherever elsewhere and beyond. And now they have to fake the fake kidnapping and send. Vincent knows something's fishy when they find him in that motel room. Yeah. He knows something's fishy. He's just about to take Lena out for a night. We're probably gonna have dinner or whatever. And his henchman comes over and is like, "Look, we found the guy." But by the way, what happened to his other guy?
Oh, I don't know.
Remember him? What happened to him?
Contract negotiations.
You think that's what it is?
I don't know.
They probably put a contract on him while in those last 6 weeks.
He's in Chicago.
I guess maybe he went back. I don't know. They'll include him in
Vegas Riders.
What happened to the old head guy?
Yeah, the old casino head.
Yeah, that's right that's right under Ralph now. Whatever.
That's right under Vincent.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Vincent. Right under Vincent. Anyway, I guess we'll find out before the season's over. Hopefully they'll tell us or they'll let us know. They're hoping that we'll forget about it.
it was 6 weeks ago.
Right, that was 6 weeks ago. I forget. 6 weeks in television years is like 7. It's like 7 years.
Exactly.
Right? Anyway,
it's like dog years.
Right. Like a soap opera. So anyway, when you talk about the DA in the situation, Ralph obviously knows something is up. Yeah. Something doesn't smell right, and they find the guy that he hired to buy the car. Yeah.
Eddie Bate. Eddie Bate, yeah.
Yeah, so... But the DA is no longer the DA. The ADA, Katherine tells the DA, is like, look, you're afraid of me. You need to be afraid of me. You don't need to be afraid of Vince Savino.
Yeah.
You don't need to be afraid of him. You need to be afraid of me and what was going to happen on this side. So you're not really in a position to try to negotiate, but the feds offer him a deal. Byrne offers him a deal.
Offering deals
because he wants the whole enchilada. Yeah, he's like, this small time sheriff town hick thing doesn't help me. I got a federal case going on here. You go in there and you get me numbers and names and blah blah blah, and we'll bring down the whole whatchamacallit, and we'll talk about what we can do for you. And he's down to do that. But you know the risk you're taking by going back in there. Now, talking about numbers, Mia's got the ledger, I guess, the skim ledger.
Yeah.
Remember, not Frank. Vincent gives Mia the skim ledger.
Yeah.
Now, why did he do that again? You remember why he gave it to her? I can't remember exactly why he gave it to her, but she's taking notes, she's copying. So she's obviously going to use the information for leverage in the future because she knows she's skating on ice with this situation. She doesn't know if what Jack is saying is true about how her father was killed, and then all of a sudden she makes him the VP of operations of the hotel, and then certain things are just not adding up. Mia is playing ice cold for a reason because she has to let people.
She has to protect herself.
She has to protect herself, and she has to weed out what really went down and what's really going on.
Yeah.
So she can't even play. I think what she's doing is she's playing Jack to the left to make Vincent and everybody believe that she's not with him and they can confide in her and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, to make everybody feel comfortable and keep the status quo.
And then next thing you know, she's going to be like, I loved you the whole time. I just had to try to find out what was going on and blah, blah, blah. I believed you.
Predictions.
That's what I think. That is part of predictions. But I think that's in the big picture. That's not next week's prediction, but that's in the big picture. So talking about the DA gets set up to shoot and take out the guy who kidnapped him. And he doesn't he doesn't seem to... I mean, if I got beat up and tied up and kidnapped, and someone's like, "Here's a gun, you can pop this guy."
You pop him. No questions asked.
Even if you're not a killer, you're gonna shoot him in the kneecap,
in the shoulder, or
something.
Yeah.
He was like, "No,
I can't do it.
Just let him go." No, I don't want to do that. Vince is looking at him like, you sucker. You really think? And then he says, "I'm sorry," and then points the gun at Vincent, and then pulls the trigger, and
Click.
Of course, no bullets come out. Because Vincent already knew what time it was.
Yeah.
He figured out the two stories. The other, they get this guy hemmed up, and his story makes probably more sense. He knows that guy's telling the truth.
Yeah.
You get in that business of lies, deceit, and all that stuff, and gangsterism. You know who's telling the truth and who's not. Especially from somebody who's a square. They don't do business on a shady level. On the level of your shade. I don't think that he was a square because he literally because he was in jail for the past 3 years or whatever, and so he's just literally been out for a minute.
And so how do you really have all this time to know where everybody is and do all this? So he was like, just here's this cash, buy this car,
right?
And then I need you to plant this and then just be seen driving away from my house,
right?
And so that makes sense because where would you get all this money from? How if you've been in jail for 3 years,
right? Especially if it was a small time dude.
Yeah,
it's not like he had some big operation.
How are you
going to
buy a brand new truck?
Right.
That doesn't even make any sense.
You're right.
And then the sheriffs catch him upstate somewhere, trying to get some.
Yeah, I mean,
so
a man has needs.
Which is true. I mean, so
he told the ADA that a man has needs.
Yeah,
and he has a right to want to do something when you get out. You've been locked there for 3 years.
Yeah.
You're not subject to magazines or anything anymore, pictures. You can get the real thing. That's his job.
Imagination only goes so far.
Exactly.
Start thinking of Dungeons and Dragons characters inside the wow.
Exactly. So they got this guy hemmed up, and now what I want to know is after they took care of the DA and bumped him off, did they let him go?
I don't know. You would think that they would. I wouldn't think that they, shot him. I think that they let him go.
You think they let him go?
I think they let him go.
Okay.
That's just me. I don't know.
All right. Well, I think they let him go too, and hopefully they did. And I think they're not going to let us know either way because we're not supposed to care about that character anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think we have any. Do we have any news and gossip?
No.
We don't. No news and gossip for this week after Buzzers Vegas people, but let's do predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So, CBS's Vegas, Season 1, Episode 18 predictions. Nick Perdue, go.
Okay. Well, I really think that Barry Silver is gonna get whacked. Something's gonna happen, and so they're gonna kill him.
Really?
Yeah. Because okay, like,
that's a big huge prediction right there.
When you send your goons out to do dirt, and you know Jack was like, "I'm ready to die for my son."
Right.
You know, or no, Ralph said, "I'm ready to die for my son."
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, now and then, you know, after what he did to Violet, if we think it's him, but you know, if he wasn't the one who physically did it, but he had someone do it or whatever,
right?
You know what I mean? So it's like you're walking down the path of getting whacked. So I feel that he's gonna get whacked.
Interesting. I don't think he's gonna get whacked, but if he does get whacked, you get kudos for that. My prediction for next week is, I think Mia and her mom are going to go closer, and that's going to start on a path of her weeding out the situation that happened with, because she's going to now, because she's going to get close to Vincent, is going to get privy to information.
Yeah.
I think Vincent might slip up and tell her some stuff. It might confide in her because of their mutual disdain for Johnny. Okay. And she may figure something out.
Yeah.
Mia finds out because she cares more about growth with her
mother,
with her mom, with her daughter, with Mia, and Mia learns some stuff. Because in the end, Vincent is just another guy. She's had a bunch of guys. Like, she gets high rollers, guys with money. You know, that's going to be like whatever for her. Plus, Vincent's married, and I don't know if she even knows that yet. Aha.
She'll find out. Maybe Vincent's wife comes back.
Maybe Vincent's wife does come back and start slapping people around.
Catches them in the act.
That'll be very interesting. Anyway, until next time, After Buzzers, I'm your host, Thaddeus Massey. Where can they find you, Nick?
All over the internet at the Nick Perdue.
And you can find me on IG, better known as Instagram, and Twitter at Club Thaddeus. That's CLUBTHADDEUS. And you can find me here also for Netflix original series House of Cards on Sunday at 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until next time, After Buzzers.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.